Now we're going to start our knotty pine walls. All the knotty pine comes, this is 1x8 tongue and groove. All this knotty pine comes with your kit. A little difference though, this top lip is going to line up with the top of the top plate. The reason we do that is when we put the other pieces on, they'll all mate in between these rafters. And another segment will show you that. But we're going to put the knotty pine on now. And we're going to get a few boards. Now the first piece will slip behind the medallion. And that's going to be fairly tight, but Al is going to tack the right side of that and then put a level on it just to make sure that we're level. Now we work, this is a little unusual. Those of you who have done knotty pine usually work from the bottom up instead of the top down. Okay, the reason we're doing this is because it's very critical that we get that top piece exactly located with the top of the top plate. Again, our instructions will show you that, but that's a tip. Start here. So go ahead and set that one. Then again, these are all pre-cut. Now normally you would nail knotty pine in the tongue area. We don't worry about that. We nail it on the edges because the edges are going to be hidden by our cover board. So he'll just tap that up. And we're doing a corner here, so he wants to get that corner fairly tight to the corner. The other piece will come across and hold it. Now if you see where he's nailing inside of this. We got another board that's going to cover that up. We'll show you here in a second. So these boards you'll see come kind of double groove. A groove on one side and open on the other. This is called double four. We typically like to keep the wide side out. If you keep the skinny side out, it starts to look a little busy. So what Al is doing again is holding that tight to the left on the corner there. There you go. Now from time to time, about every 4 or 5 boards, you want to check that exactly what Al's doing. Because this pine is going to be a little different. So the next piece, you want to get back to level, and you can do that about every 4 or 5 courses. And that's another little tip to you. You want to check it like every 4 or 5 pieces. Now as you'll notice, this is hanging over. We want that. That's exactly what we want. And as you can see, if you got a little pin nailer like that, you certainly could use finish nails. But if you have a pin nailer like this, they're like $100 in the store. Again, if you don't have access to it, give us a holler. We'll send one along for you and charge you whatever we pay for it. Now you're going to see that some of these pieces are different in length. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. This all gets covered up with the next piece that's going on there. So I'm going to have Al run this all the way down to almost where our electric is going to go. And then that's the next step we're going to show you. Okay, we're going to leave it right there, but Al, let's move up into this other spot here. And this is how you do a corner detail. I want to give you a couple tips there. So he's going to put that up, so again, it planes out exactly with that side. What he's going to do is put one pin in there to hold it. Now he'll take his level. And set that first board. That will be, again, exactly planed out with the top plate. Now what he's going to do, again, I'm going to show you a trick on this. What you want to do is keep these lines parallel across. Now, to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter, but a professional carpenter or whatever, you want to keep these lines. And I don't want to put a molding in this corner. And I'll show you how you can keep you from doing that. So what he did there is lined it up. He'll put a couple more in and check himself for level. So as you can see, as fast as you can nail this up. Now let's say you got a wall that's coming across here, okay? Let's just say you got an interior wall. Put your pine up first, and then the wall will go to it, and then this board will butt to this on the wall you put up, okay? So don't put your walls up first, put your outside pine on first. It'll save you a lot of time in the future. Okay, so what Al is really paying attention to is where this corner is lining up in relation to the other. Okay, now I want to show you a little trick. This may be pretty good. Okay, now you may have a little gap here, okay? Al's going to take his hammer and just tap this piece tight. And what will happen is those nails will deflect. Now, whether you can see it or not, that really closed up tight. So when you get all your pine up, a little trick for you, just tap this over, those nails will bend a little. If you want, put another nail here under it, but go ahead and tap them all. Okay, now you got a joint here that you don't have to put a molding on. Not to say you wouldn't want to put one because maybe you goofed something up, but we cut those nice and square for you. So if you put them in level, they'll line up very nicely. So the next segment, we got some pine on here. The next segment, we're going to show you how the cover board goes on, and also we're going to show you the electrical, how the electric goes in, and how we've provided for you. If you have any further questions, contact us at the information listed.